So when we think about birth control, we tend to focus on the big picture methods, right?
We do, but there's one that's incredibly common we should probably zero in on.
Which is?
Spermicides. You know, the gels, creams, foams.
Oh, right. The suppositories, even those sponges, often used with condoms or diaphragms.
Exactly. And look, while people often think they're, pretty straightforward, maybe simple,
Yeah.
the reality is they can sometimes kickstart a whole cascade of issues. It's not always just about preventing pregnancy.
Okay. Issues like what?
Well, allergic reactions, actually. It's surprisingly more common than most people realize.
Really? More common?
Yeah. And we're not just talking about a little bit of irritation. It can be pretty significant discomfort.
Yeah.
And it has this ripple effect on, well, overall vaginal health.
Okay, so that's what we're digging into today then.
That's the plan.
Getting under the skin of these allergic reactions to spermicides, understanding how they actually impact the whole vaginal environment.
Exactly. Because if you've ever had that, like burning, itching, irritation, maybe some swelling after using them, this is definitely for you.
Yeah.
Because these aren't just symptoms you have to, put up with.
Right. And ignoring them can make things worse long term.
It really can. It can lead to more persistent problems down the line.
So to really understand this, we need to talk about the vaginal microbiome, don't we?
Absolutely. It's fundamental. Think of it like this bustling community of bacteria inside the vagina.
Okay.
And the star players are usually lactobacillus species. They work really hard to keep things healthy and acidic.
Acidic. How acidic are we talking?
Typically, the pH is somewhere between 3.8 and 4.5. It's like the body's built-in defense system.
Defense against what?
Against harmful bacteria, fungi, other pathogens.
Yeah.
Basically anything that shouldn't be there in large number.
Okay, makes sense. So where do the spermicides fit into this picture? Or maybe mess up the picture?
Well, this is where it gets interesting. Spermicides, especially the ones with non-oxynol.
Which isn't a lot of them, right?
It is. It's a very common active ingredient. While it does its job killing sperm, it can be, well, pretty harsh on those sensitive vaginal tissues. It can really throw that delicate microbiome balance out of whack. And for some people, that's what triggers the allergic reactions we're talking about.
So it's not just a simple irritation, it's messing with the body's natural defenses.
It goes deeper than just surface level annoyance.
Okay. So how exactly do they disrupt vaginal health? Let's break that down.
Right. Well, first off, there's direct inflammation and irritation. The chemicals themselves can just be irritating, especially if you're prone to allergies or sensitivities.
You mentioned redness, burning, itching.
Yeah, and swelling too. And if you keep using them, repeated exposure can lead to a chronic inflammation. It's like this constant low-level irritation happening.
That sounds really uncomfortable. Does that irritation do lasting damage?
It can. That leads to the second point.
Yeah.
It can weaken the vaginal barrier.
The barrier.
Yeah.
Like the lining.
Exactly. Think of the vaginal lining as like a protective shield. The constant irritation can cause tiny micro tears or just make the lining thinner overall.
Okay, and a weaker shield means?
It means it's much easier for infections to get in and for other things, other irritants, to cause even more problems. It's like leaving the jade open.
Gotcha. And we mentioned the microbiome earlier, those lactobacillus bacteria. How are they affected by all this?
Ah, yes. It's all connected. So those good lactobacillus bacteria, they maintain the low pH. They produce stuff that stops bad microbes from growing.
Right.
But the inflammation caused by the spermicide, it can actually lead to a drop in the number of these beneficial bacteria.
So the good guys get knocked down.
They do. They get outnumbered.
And when the good bacteria decrease, what moves in?
Well, that creates an opening, doesn't it? An opportunity for other microorganisms to take over.
Like what?
We often see an overgrowth of things like Candida.
Mm.
That's the yeast that causes yeast infections.
Okay.
And Gardnerella, which is linked to bacterial vaginosis or BV, the balance of power shifts.
And that's the link to secondary infections, BV yeast infections.
Precisely. You've got the weakened barrier and the disrupted microbiome. It makes the body much more susceptible.
UTIs too, you mentioned.
Yes, even urinary tract infections can become more common. And the frustrating part is these recurring infections then irritate the tissues even more.
Ugh, sounds like a vicious cycle.
It really can be.
And can this sensitivity hang around even after you stop using the spermicide?
That's a really important point, yes. Sometimes that ongoing exposure can lead to chronic discomfort or even make the tissues hypersensitive.
Hypersensitive, meaning?
Meaning they can become overly reactive, even to minor things that would normally cause an issue.
Wow. So that could impact intimacy, just daily comfort.
Absolutely. It can make things really challenging, affecting quality of life.
Okay, so just to recap the symptoms we're talking about:
Yeah.
burning, stinging,
Redness, swelling, itching.
maybe unusual discharge or an odor,
Pain during or after sex.
and those micro tears or just general irritation.
Exactly. And the key thing for listeners is these symptoms can easily look like a standard infection.
Right, like a yeast infection or BV.
Yes. So it's really crucial to consider if spermicide use might be the actual root cause, the underlying trigger.
Because figuring that out early could save a lot of trouble.
A huge amount. It can help break that cycle of recurring issues and discomfort.
Okay. So step one, obviously, if you suspect this is the issue, stop using the spermicide.
Absolutely. Immediately.
But you said earlier that just stopping might not be enough. Why is actively restoring the balance so important?
Well, think of it like weeding a garden,
Mm,
right? You pull the main weed, the spermicide, but the soil might still be depleted. The good plants, the beneficial bacteria might still be struggling.
okay.
So the vaginal ecosystem, the microbiome might still be out of balance. The pH could be off, tissue still inflamed. You need to actively help it recover.
Got it. So it's about proactive healing, not just removing the negative.
Exactly. For real healing and to prevent future problems.
So what are the main goals then when trying to restore that vaginal health?
Okay, number one is definitely replenishing those good guys, the beneficial lactobacillus bacteria.
Probiotics then.
Yes, specifically vaginal probiotics. Certain strains are really key here. Things like Lactobacillus acidophilus, L. rhamnosus, L. reuteri,
Okay.
L. plantarum, and also Bacillus coagulans. These guys have research showing they can help restore that microbial balance, lower the pH back to where it should be, and basically crowd out the harmful bacteria.
Repopulating the good bacteria. Makes sense. What else?
Next is soothing that inflammation and helping the tissue repair itself.
How do you do that?
Natural ingredients can be great here. Things with anti-inflammatory properties. Aloe vera is a classic example.
Everyone knows aloe vera is soothing. You mentioned another one, though. Reishi mushroom. That sounds interesting.
It is. Reishi is fantastic. It's an adaptogen, so it helps the body handle stress, but it also helps reduce inflammation, boosts the immune system locally, and promotes tissue healing. It's quite the multitasker.
Wow. Okay, so soothe inflammation, repair tissue.
Yeah.
What about stopping more infections while things are healing?
Good point. You want to create an environment that's less friendly to the troublemakers.
Right.
So natural antimicrobial agents can be helpful. Things like oregano leaf extract, maybe caprylic acid.
And these don't wipe out the good bacteria, too.
That's the advantage. They tend to be more targeted towards certain harmful bacteria and fungi without causing the same kind of widespread disruption as, say, antibiotics might. It's about gentle discouragement of the bad guys.
Okay, targeted help. And we talked about strengthening the vaginal barrier earlier. How does that fit into restoration?
It comes back to those probiotics, actually.
Mm.
The same beneficial lactobacillus strains we want to replenish. They don't just balance the microbiome. They also play a direct role in strengthening the actual lining, the barrier function itself, making it more resilient.
Ah, so it all works together. It sounds like you really need a multi-pronged approach.
Definitely. Addressing the bacteria, the inflammation, the barrier, it's all interconnected.
Now, you mentioned probiotics and these other ingredients. I know there are supplements designed for this. You mentioned Balance Complex earlier.
Yes. Balance Complex is basically designed to do exactly what we've been talking about. It's a vaginal probiotic supplement formulated to tackle those root causes of imbalance, especially those triggered by things like spermicide allergies.
So it combines the probiotics with the other stuff.
Exactly. It has that blend of specific probiotic strains, plus the anti-inflammatory agents like aloe and reishi, and natural antimicrobials like oregano and caprylic acid. They all work together synergistically.
Okay, let's dig into the ingredients a bit more. Tell us about that probiotic blend first.
Sure. It's a potent blend, 100 billion CFUs per gram, which is quite high. It includes Lactobacillus acidophilus, that's key for pH balance and keeping bad bacteria in check.
Okay.
Then L. rhamnosus for immune support and microbial balance. L. reuteri helps reduce inflammation and promotes tissue healing.
Got it.
L. plantarum acts as an antioxidant, also helps repair tissue. And finally, Bacillus coagulans, which helps prevent infections and supports long-term balance. It's a really well-rounded blend for vaginal health.
That does sound comprehensive. I also see cranberry and D-mannose in there. That's usually for urinary health, right?
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
That blend specifically targets urinary tract health. Cranberry helps stop bacteria like E. coli from sticking to the urinary tract lining.
Mm-hmm.
And D-mannose is a type of sugar that helps flush bacteria out. It's included because, well, Urinary health and vaginal health are often closely linked. Issues in one area can affect the other.
That's smart. Okay, and oregano leaf extract. You said it's a natural antimicrobial.
Right, it targets certain harmful bacteria and fungi, but gently. It helps keep things in balance without being too harsh on the good microbes.
And caprylic acid?
Similar idea, but it's particularly good at combating yeast overgrowth, like candida. So it helps restore that microbial balance if yeast has become overgrown.
Okay. Now, these next two sound interesting. Protease and cellulose enzymes.
Exactly, they're enzymes. Their job is to break down something called biofilms.
Biofilms.
Yeah, think of them as these slimy protective shields that harmful bacteria build around themselves. It makes them harder to get rid of.
Ah.
Protease and cellulase help break down those shields, making the bad bacteria more vulnerable and allowing the other beneficial ingredients to work better. It's like clearing the path.
Clever. And aloe vera leaf, straightforward, soothing, and healing.
Yep. Reduces inflammation, soothes irritation, supports the healing process, just calming things down.
What about arabinogalactan? I'm less familiar with that one.
It's a type of prebiotic fiber, actually. It helps enhance immune function, giving the body's own defenses a bit of a boost to maintain balance.
Interesting. And then there's aniseed, black walnut hulls, and wormwood. These sound like more traditional remedies.
They draw in traditional uses, yeah. Aniseed has anti-inflammatory and antimicrobial properties. Black walnut hulls are known for being antifungal, and antibacterial helps protect against reinfection. And wormwood supports immune function and also helps combat microbial overgrowth.
Okay. And finally, reishi mushroom again. We know anti-inflammatory, adaptogen. Anything else?
Just reinforcing those points, it helps manage stress response, bolsters immunity, and really promotes tissue healing. It's a great supportive ingredient.
Wow, okay. That is a seriously comprehensive formula. It really seems designed to hit the problem from all angles.
That's the idea, addressing the imbalance holistically.
So, aside from potentially trying a targeted supplement like Balance Complex, what are some practical, everyday steps someone can take if they're dealing with these reactions?
Well, number one, absolutely stop the spermicide, like we said. Find an alternative contraceptive method.
Condoms without spermicide, maybe diaphragms without the cream, or hormonal methods.
Exactly. Explore those options. Then think about your daily routine. Be really gentle with hygiene products.
Meaning?
Use mild, fragrance-free soaps, lubes, wipes, anything that comes into contact with that area. Avoid harsh chemicals, douches, perfumes. Keep it simple and gentle.
Okay, simple is good. Does clothing matter?
It really can. Breathable fabrics are your friend. Cotton underwear is ideal. Avoid really tight-fitting synthetic clothes that can trap moisture and heat, which can worsen irritation.
Good tip. What about diet and hydration?
Always important. Drink plenty of water. Good hydration supports overall tissue health. And diet-wise, incorporating probiotic-rich foods like yogurt or kefir can offer some general microbiome support.
Right. And then circling back, considering a targeted vaginal probiotic like Balance Complex can give that direct focused support we've been discussing.
Exactly. It provides those specific strains and supporting nutrients right where they're needed.
This has been super insightful. Now, for people listening who might be thinking, okay, this sounds like me, or maybe they're just curious about their own vaginal health picture, is there a quick way to get some personalized insight?
Yes, actually. There's a resource called vaginalquiz.com.
Vaginalquiz.com, all one word.
That's right. Vaginalquiz.com. It's a quick science-backed quiz. Takes less than 2 minutes.
2 minutes. Wow. What does it tell you?
It gives you a personalized analysis of your vaginal health based on your answers. It looks for potential imbalances, maybe related to recurring infections or dryness, low libido, or just general wellness.
So it's kind of a starting point. Fast, private.
Exactly. Fast, free, totally private. It's a good way to get some initial clues without having to, spend hours Googling or wait for a doctor's visit, although it doesn't replace medical advice, of course.
Of course. What do you get after the quiz?
You get a custom breakdown of your vaginal health profile, highlighting potential imbalances. And importantly, it gives you expert-backed, tailored suggestions based on your results.
Suggestions like what?
Could be lifestyle habits, maybe specific types of supplements that might match your profile. Like it might indicate if something like Balance Complex could be a good fit for the issues you describe. Think of it as a cheat sheet for understanding your intimate health better.
Sounds like a really useful tool. So if you want that quick insight, head to vaginalquiz.com.
Yeah, it's a great first step to just listening to your body a bit more closely.
Okay, so wrapping things up, it's really clear that these allergic reactions to spermicides, they're not just a minor nuisance. They can be seriously disruptive.
They absolutely can, but the big takeaway message should be hopeful
How so?
because it doesn't have to control your life or your vaginal health. Early identification is so important.
Right, recognizing the trigger.
And then taking those proactive steps we talked about, restoring balance, soothing inflammation, strengthening your body's own defenses, that can make a huge difference in getting back comfort and confidence.
And there's something really empowering about taking charge of this aspect of your health, isn't there?
Absolutely. Understanding your body, understanding what it needs, it's empowering.
It encourages you to think about that delicate balance, maybe other potential triggers in your life, the importance of that microbiome.
Exactly. It's all connected. And supporting your well-being in this area has broader benefits too.
One final important note, though.
Yes.
While we've covered a lot, this isn't medical advice. If you're dealing with allergies, sensitivities, persistent symptoms, always best to talk to your doctor or healthcare provider.
Absolutely crucial. Get that personalized advice tailored to your specific health history and situation.